Which article declares that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 6 to 14 years? Article 21A. Article 21A of the Indian Constitution introduced by the 86th Amendment Act of 2002, which guarantees right to education as fundamental right for children between age of 6 and 14. Which part of the Indian Constitution deals with Union Executive? Part 5 of the Constitution. That means Article 52 to 78 of the Indian Constitution deals with the Union Executive. Union Executive means it consists of the President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers, and the Attorney General of India. Who called preamble as the identity card of the Constitution? N.A. Palkiwala. He was an Indian lawyer and jurist. Which article declares India as a union of states? Article 1. Article 1 declares India as a union of states because the states are indestructible part of the country and the states have no right to secede from the India. First president who born after independence is Draupadi Murmu. She was born in 1958. All other presidents of India are born before independence. Who is the head of the Indian Audit and Accounts Department? Controller and Auditor General of India. Indian Audit and Account Department was created during the British rule in 1753. Which is the legislative organ of the Union government? Parliament. Parliament consists of three parts: the President, Council of States, House of the People. What was the original names of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha in Constitution? Rajya Sabha Council of States, Lok Sabha House of the People. In 1954, Hindi names Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha were adopted by the Council of States and House of the People. Who was the president of Indian National Congress when our national anthem was first sung in Calcutta session? Bishan Narayan Dar. The national anthem was first sung on 27th December 1911 during Calcutta session of the Indian National Congress. Which part of the Indian Constitution is known as Magna Carta of Indian Constitution? Part 3. Part 3 is called as Magna Carta of India because it contains comprehensive list of fundamental rights that are more detailed than any other country in the world. In which year right to property was deleted from list of fundamental rights? 1978. Right to property was deleted from fundamental rights by 44th Amendment Act 1978 and it was made a legal right under Article 300A in Part 12 of the Constitution. Which is the first hour of every parliamentary sitting in India? Question hour. In this hour, members ask questions and ministers usually gives answer. The question hour are three kinds: start, unstart, and short notice. Who was the first speaker of the Lok Sabha? G.V. Mavlankar. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha is presiding officer and the highest authority of Lok Sabha. The Speaker is generally elected in the first meeting of the Lok Sabha following general elections. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar calls which has novel features of Indian Constitution. Directive principles of state policy. The idea of directive principles of state policy borrowed from Irish Constitution. Which article of the Indian Constitution deals with financial emergency? Article 360. As on date, India has never seen any financial emergency. When Niti Aayog was established in 2015, NITI, National Institution for Transforming India Ayog, it is a think tank of the government. It was established in 2015 and it replaced 65 years old practice of planning commission. By which act Governor General of Bengal becomes Governor General of India. Charter Act 1833. It was also known as St. Helena Act 1833. Lord William Bentinck was the first Governor General of India. When National Human Rights Commission was established, 1993. It is a statutory body established in 1993 under a legislation enacted by the Parliament, namely the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. Which article deals with the power of the Parliament to amend the Constitution? Article 368. Article 368 in Part 20 deals with the power of the Parliament to amend the Constitution. In which house of the Parliament money bill can be introduced? Lok Sabha. Money bill can be introduced only in Lok Sabha, not in Rajya Sabha, and it can be introduced only by a minister. The feature of suspension of fundamental rights during emergency is taken from which country's constitution? Germany. This feature is taken from Weimar Constitution of Germany. Article 352 to 360 in Part 18 deals with the emergency provisions. How many types of emergencies are there in our constitution? Three types of emergency. National emergency, it is under Article 352, the President's rule, also known as state emergency. It comes under Article 356 and 365. Financial emergency, that comes under Article 360. Who is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha? Vice President. Article 63 of the Indian Constitution states that there shall be a Vice President of India. Jagdeep Dhankar is the current Vice President of India as of August 2024. The vacancy of the President's office must be filled up within dash months. 6 months. Vice President of India take over the functions of President till the new President will take the charge. When Supreme Court of India was established? In 1950. Supreme Court of India was established in January 28, 1950, succeeded the Federal Court of India established under the Government of India Act 1935. Which act is known as Government of India Act 1919? Montague-Chelmsford reforms. Montague-Chelmsford reforms are introduced by the colonial government to introduce self-governing institution in British India. Who is the protector and guarantor of fundamental rights? Supreme Court. For the enforcement of the fundamental rights of an aggrieved citizen, the right to remedy is conferred under Article 32. Constitutional Amendment Act facilitated the appointment of the same person as a governor for two or more states. Seventh Constitutional Amendment. Seventh Amendment Act of 1956 facilitated the appointment of the same person as a governor for two or more states. Parliamentary form of government is also known as dash model of government. Westminster. Westminster is a place in London where the British Parliament is located. In which year Rajya Sabha was constituted? In the year 1952. It is a permanent body constituted on 3rd April 1952. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan was the first chairman of Rajya Sabha. S. V. Krishnamurti Rao was the first deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Which article of the Constitution says that the Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to Lok Sabha? Article 75. Prime Minister and other ministers are collectively known as Council of Ministers. Who presides over the joint sitting of the two houses of the parliament? The Speaker of Lok Sabha. The joint sitting is called by the President. If the Speaker is absent, Deputy Speaker presides the joint sitting. Who presides over the joint sitting of the Parliament if neither the Speaker nor the Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha is available? Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. The Chairman of Rajya Sabha does not preside over a joint sitting because he is not a member of either house of the Parliament. Which article deals with duties of Prime Minister? Article 78. Prime Minister acts as a link between the President and the Cabinet. Who is the real executive head of the nation? Prime Minister. President is the nominal head of the state. Who described the directive principles and fundamental rights as the concerns of the Constitution? Granville Austin. Granville Austin was an American historian. He was known for helping to draft the Indian Constitution. How many types of writs are provided under Article 32 of the Indian Constitution? Five types. They are habeas corpus, quo warranto, mandamus, certiorari, prohibition. The procedure of impeachment of President of India is quasi-judicial procedure. No president has so far been impeached. The concept of single citizenship is borrowed from which country? Britain. Single citizenship means regardless of the state in which they are born, enjoy Indian citizenship as a single citizen. Unlike the United States, where there is a dual citizenship. Which is the largest committee of the Parliament of India? The Estimates Committee. The first independent estimate committee was formed in 1950. It consists of 30 members, all elected from Lok Sabha. Sanjay Jaiswal is the current chairperson of the committee. Who has the power to pardon in case of capital punishment? President. Article 72 empowers the President to grant pardon. How many sessions of Parliament in a year? Three sessions. They are budget session from February to May, the monsoon session from July to September, the winter session from November to December. Who invented the term Lokpal in 1963? Dr. L.M. Singhvi. Lokpal is an anti-corruption authority of body of ombudsman who represent the public interest in the Republic of India. Constitution of India provides how many types of funds for central government? Three types of funds. Consolidated Fund of India, Public Account of India and Contingency Fund of India. Constitution of India states that members of State Legislative Assembly vary between 60 to 500. Legislative Assembly is a legislative body in each of the states. Which constitutional amendment reduced the voting age from 21 to 18? 61st Amendment Act 1988. This was done by amending Article 326 of the Indian Constitution. Which hour of the Parliament is not mentioned in the Constitution? 0 hour. It is the time gap between question hour and the agenda. It was introduced in the year 1962. It is informal device to raise matters without 10 days advance notice. Which act replaces Consumer Protection Act (COPRA) 1986? COPRA Act 2019. The Consumer Protection Act has made it mandatory for every e-commerce entity to display the country of origin. Which parliamentary committee reviews the report of Controller and Auditor General of India? Public Accounts Committee. Public Accounts Committee was founded in 1921 under the provision of Government of India Act 1919. How many times national emergency has been declared in India? Three times. in 1962 during China War, in 1971 during Pakistan War, and in 1975 during internal disturbance. Thanks for watching. If you like our video, like, subscribe, share with exam aspirants and knowledge seekers. Give your valuable feedback in comment section.